Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. As you've seen from the clickbait title, today we are gonna be talking about H3H3, well specifically Ethan Klein because he never does anything wrong. Ethan Klein being a bad podcast host. I think most of us who are familiar with the H3H3 podcast have seen the infamous Bill Burr interview, which was tiny bit awkward, little bit of a car crash. Bill Burr actually went back onto the podcast and, it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. It just wasn't very good, right? So you'd think that Ethan would maybe give a shit about trying to be a better podcast host, seeing as he has a huge platform and the time and money to put into improving his craft, but apparently not. So Papa Jones, who the fuck is Papa Jones? I'm really tired right now, and also it's very cold in England, so that's making me really mad. So a little bit fuzzy at the moment. Papa John went onto the H3H3 podcast recently, and it was good, except for whenever Ethan started talking and interrupting the big Papa himself. I'm gonna put up a little interrupt counter for this video so you can get an idea of how bad it was. This is only going to count for real interruptions where Ethan directly cuts off Papa John mid-sentence or whatever, not if he's just saying great, yeah, So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're looking at that podcast and making fun of it. Enjoy!
2.
Welcome everybody to a truly Papa blessed episode of the H3 podcast. We are joined today by perhaps the most iconic figure in the H3H3 universe. 8 years in the making. None other than Papa John himself in the studio. Welcome and thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I call you Papa? What do people call you?
Papa.
People call you Papa? What about your friends and family? Do they call you Papa?
Yes.
Everyone calls you Papa.
Yes.
I don't. I call him Daddy.
And so, when did you become Papa?
From John Schnatter, which is German, to Papa John. So we actually changed the name.
Oh, you are Papa John.
You come up with the name Papa John when there was no stores. We built 5,200 stores, and he still hasn't
came forward to claim that pizza.
Yeah, and if you're out there, it's $17,500 worth of pizza. So
do you think? I think you may be assuming that someone wants to eat that much pizza.
We were a print-driven business back in those days because it was all coupons,
Mm-hmm.
and I fell in love with the name Papa John's, and that was.
And so, did you go by Papa ever since you opened your first store? All right, I understand you are going through a divorce. Are you okay? How's everything? I mean, was that a long time ago? Was that recent?
4 months.
Wow, that's fresh.
Very recent.
Yes. Is it as bad as they say it is?
She's a wonderful person.
But I mean, the divorce itself. Are you feeling relieved? Are you feeling... it's got to get like... Well, okay. Are you dating?
So within 10 minutes, Ethan is already asking about Papa/Daddy John's divorce and is being super fucking awkward about it because he doesn't understand how to communicate with people. Right, I've noticed this on his comment section. His little minions try and defend him by saying that he's not an interviewer, so he doesn't need to try to be good at it. Yes, he is. A podcast is a conversation between 2 or 3 or more people, right? If you're going to have guests on, by default, it's kind of an interview. And if this is what you're known for, because he doesn't make content anymore, right? Making podcasts is content, but he doesn't make videos per se anymore. He's making podcasts. So if this is what you're known for, why not try to be good at it? If you're going to have guests on, which, he does, then get good. Maybe making conversation with someone isn't the easiest thing in the world. I wouldn't know. I'm pretty good at it. But if it's within your job description, then, what are you guys defending here? If you suck at doing interviews and refuse to get better, then just don't do them. It's either 2 options. Either get better or don't bother doing them.
Slowly but surely.
Papa's getting out there.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Getting some weird ass out there, Papa?
I wouldn't say that either.
Would you want someone that is, let's say, in the pizza category? Or someone who's completely outside of the pizza world?
Healer is much better at handling people than Ethan is.
I don't know if you really can pick. I think if you just go out and look for certain attributes. I don't think that'll work. I think it'll just have to happen.
Yeah.
Where do you meet women?
You don't if you're me.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's real tough.
Excuse me, Daddy John, I'm right here. I'm so annoying today. I hate me.
Do you do like social events? Do you go out?
I like to go to bed early and wake up early. So I
Because
don't.
you're a grind. You're a CEO. You built this incredible company. We've got to set you up with a nice girl, Papa.
I'm fine. I'll take it from here, pal.
We got to set you up with someone. You're quite an eligible bachelor. That would be a hell of a season. I assume you're not interested.
I got to tell you, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but it's kind of interesting. But I'll take the dating from here.
Okay, I understand.
Got
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
What I'm getting from this conversation is that John doesn't really want to, or the Papa doesn't really want to talk about dating, and that's why he's kind of shutting down the joking, not really going along with it that much. But then Ethan just continues to ask questions about it because he doesn't understand social cues.
You have an age limit now that you're single. The pizza guy.
Give them a $10 off card, take a picture, and then
Oh, that's cool. You walk around with gift cards?
Oh yeah,
That's wow, crowd pleaser. They gotta love that.
yeah, it's really cool because
You got one for me?
I can get you a pizza card.
It's as if Ethan doesn't understand how to hold a proper conversation. It's like he doesn't actually listen to what the other person is saying. He's just in his head. He's waiting for the next opportune moment for him to say what he's thinking rather than taking in what the other person is saying and reacting accordingly. He just waits to say what's on his mind, which is never anything groundbreaking anyway.
I can't tell you how many times I thought we were going to go broke, and there was people just really.
Ethan is always saying some variation of or yeah as his guest is talking, as if he bought the book How to Interview People for Dummies and he took the advice, nod every once in a while and say yeah so your guest like knows you're listening. He took that too much to heart.
Great everything, and so
It's true, Ela.
and then this
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk, okay?
Well, why don't you let your guest actually finish a sentence, Ethan? Let's talk. What do you think Papa is trying to do right now? Juggle pizzas on his head?
You did an interview, let's start here, in November, in which you famously claimed you have eaten over 40 pizza in 30 days. Now, first of all, that went sensational viral. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I didn't say I'd eaten 40 pizzas in 30 days. I said I had.
Here we come to the meat of the interview, the meat feast, in fact. And this is why I wanted to do this video. Yeah, like making fun of Ethan is all well and good, but this is why I wanted to do this video. Because Papa John lied to us about eating 40 pizzas within 30 days. He lied to us, and I can't get into a relationship if it's built on a foundation of lies. I don't know how I'm going to trust ever again.
When I said had a pizza, it means I'm inspecting.
Right.
And so I'm not eating every pizza. I may be eating parts of pizzas. But
How many pizzas you eat?
But pizza is actually very nutritious, very healthy.
Okay, sick. Where's that pizza menu at?
And that's
Then
an
you're
issue.
garlic butter golden, like myself. When did the garlic? You know what? Let's stick to the issue.
So here's a problem. Ethan was presumably about to ask a question about the garlic butter tip, but then, as you can see here, he stops himself and goes back to his pre-written set list of questions. Ethan needs to loosen up a little bit and not constantly be looking at the screen thinking, right, we've done that question, let's do the next one. He needs to loosen up. Conversations should be more flowing because they aren't. I know this is a podcast, but in real life, a conversation isn't, right, I've written down a list of things I'm going to talk to about my friend today, and if the conversation doesn't go the way I want it, I'm going to revert back to the list and make sure, like, it needs to be a bit more free and flowing.
We've always looked for you on social media.
Yeah.
Like, where is
Yeah.
his Twitter? Where is his Instagram?
I enjoy how Gila is actually a proper fangirl of the Papa. It's very wholesome, and I don't blame her.
Anything that's worth doing is going to have a risk.
That's the Papa I
Right.
know. That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
I'm so glad you're here because to me, it's very brave of you to come in here with us.
Stunning and brave, in fact.
You've been a Papa John's fan,
Oh yeah.
and you get your wife here. So,
Absolutely.
And I just felt somewhat safe. I mean, I
That's
know
good.
there's going to be parts of the interview that, like the segment we just left, where it's like I didn't know he was going to go there, but I knew that coming in that was going to happen. And
Oh, it's gonna get worse than that.
Papa admitting that the previous divorce talk made him feel uncomfortable because why the fuck wouldn't it? He's been divorced all of 4 months, it's still very fresh. But Ethan doesn't understand that because he has no social decorum.
I mean, it's a nice side item.
You're being nice. You're being nice here. I can tell. I thought you were coming in gloves off, but
I'm gloves off with you, not gloves off with the corporate.
You're being nice.
Here's my problem. I've got franchisees out there that I love, and
Right,
I do
you don't want to
You
hurt
don't
the
want-
company.
I can't.
Ethan, please don't ask someone a question and then try to answer it for them because, I mean, it's a lot of things, but it's rather impolite. My internal British politeness is quaking so much right now that I kind of want to apologise on behalf of Ethan.
You claimed in your now famous interview that there was a conspiracy to out you as the board of directors, that it was completely fabricated what was recounted of your racist language on the phone call, and you've claimed that those who perpetrated this conspiracy against you should be in jail. Do you,
I love how Papa is laughing at his own quotes. He reminds me of me.
and so is this the day of reckoning you spoke about?
Well, if you're a franchisee or an employee, that we just talked about 2 of them, 20 years and 25 years, God bless them. I mean, yeah, that's the day of reckoning when you lose, your career, you lose your job.
I'm counting that as an interruption, even though it failed, because Daddy John is the alpha Chad over the virgin Ethan Klein.
Franchisees, I mean, they are, this is very painful for me to watch. We had, you've seen the trajectory on sales and profit, and now you've seen it crash.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very hard for me to sit back with my hands tied. No matter how much money I spend or what I
Failed again. Papa is standing his ground.
try to do to help them, my hands are tied. I'm no longer running the ship.
You can't help
So it's hard to watch this because when you built the machine,
Failed yet again, but Ethan is just so desperate to say anything that it's rather disconcerting. Like, just let the man speak uninterrupted for at least 10 seconds.
What did we mean? What is the reckoning? I heard rumors that the notorious phone call, for example, you got a copy of that. Is that true?
yes, what question you want me to answer first?
Look how sweet the Papa looked then. Is this a crush, what I'm feeling? Am I having a crush on the Papa? When am I going to get my free pizzas? How do you reckon Papa John would take it if you took him to Pizza Hut on a first date? Do you reckon he'd just flip over the salad bar shouting, "This is not what constitutes as a Papa John's pizza," and storm out?
So, do you have the recording?
Yes.
Does it exonerate you?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Can we hear it?
I don't know if you can hear it. I can tell you what it says. Again, you need to
What
listen
does
to the
it
whole
say?
tape.
What happened? Tell me about that conversation.
I can tell you what it says. What does it say? Ethan, shut up. That's what it says. Shut up, Ethan. Just shut up. Just let him finish. Do you ever let anyone else finish? Poor healer. Low blow, I know. I'm sorry.
I wasn't real worried about what I'd said because I wouldn't say anything that was going to put any of us in jeopardy. What I said was I never used the word.
Mm-hmm. But you used the word.
I said Colonel Sanders used the word.
But did you use the N word?
I said Colonel Sanders
Used
used the N
blank.
word.
Yeah.
I never used that word.
Yeah. But
Completely
you used the
in-
word.
I said the word.
Yeah, you said
In
I said
reference to him.
into the word.
Yes.
This is actually genuinely painful to listen to. Genuinely, what is the point of having a guest on if you're constantly going to interrupt, speak over them, and put words in their mouth? What is the point? Ethan, you may as well just be talking to yourself in a podcast. You might as well. Just interview yourself next time. Clearly, you want to hear you talk the most out of anyone else on the earth.
Who leaked it? How did it get out?
We don't know. That's why we filed the lawsuit.
Wow.
Laundry Service in their response said they didn't leak it. But Forbes got the data from somewhere. So I don't know if they got it from Papa John's. I don't know if they got it from an executive of Papa John's. We're not sure.
Who was on that call? I guess someone on the call was recording it.
Yes. The good news is they recorded the call. Because what I said was not as anything anti-racist.
I understand. You said you used the N word, but you used it in the context of explaining that you're not racist.
Well,
Although, can you see that some?
You can see that Papa genuinely got a bit irritated then in a brief blink and you might miss it. Beautiful moment. On a real note, this conversation about the pizza conspiracy, not that pizza conspiracy, a different pizza conspiracy. It's actually really interesting, and I wish that someone who understood social cues and knew how to hold an interview properly was handling this podcast instead of Ethan. Obviously, H3H3 were picked because this is a huge, well, they're big fans of Papa John. They have been for all the past 8 years. But it's also a huge platform for John to speak on. It's just unfortunate that the host himself is a little bit inept. You know what I'm gearing up to, yeah? John, come onto my channel. I won't interrupt you every 2 seconds. You can trust me. I'm British. Manners are built into our design. Come onto my channel sometime.
There's no tolerance for it in my family and in my upbringing. And it finally came up again at the end. I said, listen, so-and-so uses the word. I never use the word. Let's get off the word. They recorded it. And
You feel like they were trying to set you up? They kept trying to get you to say the word?
It's funny because I feel like this interview was set up so that Ethan interrupts and annoys John so much he has stress and pizza-induced heart failure.
How do you oust the founder, Papa John, from his own company? And there's really no way to get that done except paint me in the race corner. And what the company learned with the Obamacare and the NFL comments is if they did nothing, social media in itself would take me to that spot, which was a very bad spot. And it just gave him an excuse to get rid of me.
But why would they want to get rid of you?
No, nobody has benefited.
Yeah.
It's back to it's a lose, lose, lose. And I think until this gets clarified and the public can digest really what happened, I think it's going to have consequences on Papa John's business health. But let me finish.
Yes, Papa, finish him! On a side note, if your guest has to say to you, let me finish, you're either a bad interviewer or you're a bad shag, and neither of these two things are admirable. The rest of the podcast is pretty much the same. I've listened to the rest of it. I don't have the patience or tolerance to recap any more of it. Feel like this will do. Feel like we've done enough here. It's just Ethan constantly interrupting Papa all the way through for 2 hours straight. I don't have the patience to go over this anymore. I wish someone more capable had held this interview. I enjoyed the little moments with Healer asking him questions and John taking the time to be like, oh, Healer, like, well, I enjoyed those interactions rather than John and Ethan talking. But I can see why John picks the H3H3 podcast. It's a huge platform, yada, yada, yada. I've mentioned that before. But then another episode of the H3 podcast came out and Ethan actually acknowledged the criticism within the first 5 minutes of this podcast and then deflected it by saying, this is simply a new style of aggressive interviewing he's trying out. I'm sorry, I just heard myself say that out loud and it's so fucking stupid. Like, who are you trying to fool? Who are you trying to play here? Like, having bad manners is not an interview technique. It's just being impolite.
People said I ruined the interview. There was a lot of harsh criticism for me. But I'm used to that. I feel like our fans, there's
Brutal.
It's like I'm destined to be hated by my fans. It's just part of the game now. I've accepted it. People saying I interrupted too much. I have a method, you know. I'm trying a new interviewing style, and although it's not perfect, I think that it's going to be great to hone and get better at. Basically, I'm definitely being more aggressive.
However, I will say, albeit begrudgingly, that I think it's a good sign that he chose to acknowledge the criticism rather than completely avoid it and not even mention it. The criticism, I mean, I can only really speak for myself, so my criticism, it's not coming from a place of hate. Yes, I am taking the piss out of Ethan, but I'm British. Take the piss out of everyone, take the piss out of my nan, take the piss out of myself. I'm British, this is what we do. But I would hope that some of my criticism is constructive and it's not coming from a place of hate, it's coming from a place of I would like to see Ethan do better. I would like to see him work on his interviewing style and podcast hosting talents more, so it's more enjoyable for us as the viewer to listen, and he would be getting more out of his work too if he knows that he's done a good job. It's more gratifying, right? He'll get more out of his guest if they aren't feeling constantly interrupted and sidelined, and the guests themselves will have more fun and want to come back again. I mean, they'd want to go back regardless because it's a huge platform, yada yada yada, but it would just be more fun if he did it properly, right? And then we, as the audience, get to listen to a good podcast, so it's win-win-win As Papa John's was saying in the interview, it's win-win-win for everyone. So my criticism isn't because I want to see Ethan fail, it's because I want to see him do the best he can and be the best he can. Like, I kind of want to see everyone do that. Life is so short, we might as well do the best we can and have a lot of fun, you know, not interrupt people all the bloody time.
But I'm aware, so I am being more aggressive. I'm trying to take more control. And I personally like it. I think I'm trying to develop a unique style of interviewing. Instead of just, I don't really, I tried being passive and giving people space, and it's fine. You think to yourself, wow, Ethan's the worst interviewer of all time, which I saw that comment so many times. I would like to see you come in here and try to hold a conversation.
Mother.
Well, they didn't say they're great interviewers. And I'm not saying I'm a great interviewer. All I'm saying is that maybe not being a great interviewer makes you a great interviewer.
And now I want to take all of that back. I'd like to see you do better. You don't have to be a chef to be a food critic. Dude, you've hosted almost 200 podcasts. This is your job. You don't get to turn around and say, you try and do better. Random schmo, that's a word. Random schmuck on the street. You don't get to say that. That's not their job. What if they're a doctor or a lawyer? They're not going to turn around and say to you, a podcast host, hey, I'd like to see you do my job better. That's not a valid thing to say at all. You don't get to deflect criticism by being like, I'd like to see you do better. Do you know what? I'll go on record and state I'll be a much better podcast host than you. I know how to actually listen to people and hold good conversations. I realise that not everyone is suited for that type of position, nor is everyone naturally good at conversing or extroverted like I may be. I mean, I never stop talking, so I'm very good at having conversations with people because I just never shut up. I can talk about anything for fucking hours, you know? But if it's your job and you do 2 of these podcasts a week, you don't do main channel content anymore. I know you and Hila are busy with Teddy Fresh, but this is what you do. This is meant to be your bread and butter. Be fucking good at it. You owe it to the people who have supported you for this long and continue to support you, despite all of these shortcomings and flaws. They continue to support you. I just think that's a bit of like a kick in the teeth to be like, well, I'd like to see you do better. Please. Do you know what? I reckon there are members of your audience who probably could do better. They just aren't in that position because they didn't get famous from making funny meme videos and stealing Vape Nation from Filthy Frank. They're just not in the position to do that. You strike me as a very arrogant little man, and everything I've said in this video, I mean, Ethan Klein is never going to watch this anyway, but even if he did, he would just dismiss it as, oh, what a hater. No! I supported your channel for years! Do better. That's all. And that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm tired, so I want to go to sleep. You don't care. Why am I saying that? Why am I acting like anyone cares about my sleeping patterns or schedule? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. 1 like equals 1 Alizee would be a better podcast host than H3H3 on H3's own podcast. Let me replace Ethan. Hila can still be there because she's lovely, but let me replace Ethan. Thanks so much for watching. Do remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
As we were sitting here and talking to him, I kept having flashbacks to us in Israel, just like our first videos about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if you told me that in a few years this will be us, I would have never believed it.
It's awesome.
It's like, it's so insane.